Hello and welcome to another episode of The Way I See It. I'm sitting on a squeaky chair. I mean, it's like got these wood things under it, so don't count that against me. Today is May 9th. Yesterday was May 8th, and it was the birthday of Ahmaud Arbery, and I was going to post a video. I ended up posting the video today that I had recorded a few days ago. I had planned to post it yesterday, but I decided to wait until today, the day after, because everything yesterday was really revolving around the various runs, 2.23, commemorating the day back in February when he was murdered. And I just did, so I didn't want to just go ahead and post the video that I had planned to post, so I pushed it back to today. And I also didn't want to really get on and say something because I didn't know what I wanted to say yet. So I decided, I thought I might not say anything. I hadn't planned to necessarily address it if I was just going to have nothing really of value to add to anything. But I think I have something of value to add. It came to me at 7 a.m. this morning. So one of the things I've seen a lot of from my white friends online is a lot of, I'm ashamed to be white, or things like that apologizing for white people. And I understand the sentiment, right? You want to show that you have compassion on people of color for atrocities that are committed by the race in power, which in most of the world, the race in power is white. Here in this country, that tends to be the race in power. But on the flip side, I've also heard black people say, well, that's just patronizing to us for you just to come along and just apologize for your whiteness. And I want to say, as a Christian, if you believe God made you, you shouldn't apologize for the race you are. You should do what you can to bring unity between the races all around you. And you know that. Most of you, you're like, I'm sorry if I came across like I was apologizing for being white. I didn't mean it like that. You're preaching to the choir here, Rachel. I know we're supposed to strive for racial unity. So, moving on from that, so I didn't want to just get on and do something like that. I want to speak to how you can get involved in having positive change, because a lot of what we do on social media is virtue signaling. I mean, it just is. It's like, hey, look at me. I really feel for these people, or I'm angry at those people, or I just want everybody to know that I'm not one of those people, and I love everybody, and God loves you, and so do I, and let me just talk about that, we just say words, but the only way we're going to continue to see change is if we change actions, if we take steps to make things better. I think that racially in this country, things are a lot better than they were 50 years ago. I think that the times that we see that are like what happened to Ahmaud, that are horrible, that's heightened because our awareness of minutia is heightened because of the fact that we all have, I'm filming this on my phone. We all have the magic rectangle, and we can film things, we can post it on social media, and thousands of people can see it immediately. So I think things that racial tensions do get put under a magnifying glass, whereas if overall, I feel like in our day-to-day interactions, most of us don't experience the kinds of things we hear about from, say, the 60s and earlier, or even the 70s, So things are getting better, but we know that we still have a long way to go, and racial reconciliation is central to what God is doing in the world through Christ, bringing us together as Christians, a nation that is from all the nations of the world. Right? He had the covenant he extended to Israel, and then he said, but the Messiah is going to extend this. People are going to come from all nations to be under the banner of Abraham's people. So no matter what color we are, no matter where we are from in the world, we should recognize that anybody has the same rights and the same grace extended to them, through Jesus, an opportunity to be part of the same family, and there is no first class or second class citizens. So first of all, the first step you can do, and this kind of refers back to my first episode, which I'll put a little bumper card at the end of this video for you to click to go back to that first episode to watch. And that was an episode, my very first one, I said, who do you love? Because the people you're going to affect most for change is going to be the people that are closest to you. So it starts with, what do I teach my children or my grandchildren one of these days? If you don't have children, have these hard conversations with your siblings, your parents, your friends, any people that you influence that look up to you and love you and you love them. That's the first step we can take. And then there's some other things we can do. I'm going to put a link below, and I'll put it here in this video. I work with an organization called the GGRA, which is the Greater Gwinnett Reentry Alliance. And I've been involved with them for a few years, although here in the last few months, because of the coronavirus and my kids having to homeschool, I've pretty much been just focusing on them and at school and home, and any of my involvement with GGRA has just kind of been through phone calls or emails. But I would like to get back involved more with them. I had plans, things I kind of wanted to launch with my colleagues there in that organization this summer that maybe I hope we'll be able to launch this fall. And putting the information I'm going to put in this video is going to hopefully help me kind of really get to that. So the Greater Gwinnett Reentry Alliance is an alliance of multiple organizations, and people in these organizations help folks who are reentering society from incarceration. So people who work with helping them with transportation, housing, employment, mental health, religious organizations. All these folks work together in the GGRA, and we're connected with the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Department to try to create a bridge to people coming out of incarceration to try to help them in society. Now, I know you're thinking, well, what does this really have to do with race relations? And we're talking about, we need to be talking about justice reform and not just back-end stuff. I mean, I know we need to help people when they're coming out, and we know that the black population is adversely affected by that. They have more of them have criminal records, and so therefore we know that any work we do is really going to help them. But on the front end, the GGRA has started to expand its connections with organizations that work on lobbying down at the state capitol. There were these sessions happening every Tuesday before the coronavirus shut everything down called Talk Justice Tuesdays, and multiple organizations would come together and lobby their local politicians, their state representatives and state senators to try to get measures passed into law that are going to help benefit people who either have criminal records or keep them from getting arrested in the first place, really help them once they've served their time to be able to get back on their feet. Because a lot of times these folks, they get out and say they want to apply to live in a place. Well, because they have a criminal record, that place denies them an opportunity to even rent an apartment. Well, how can I then apply for this job if I can't put an address on my application? Or, so then I can't get a job. I can't get a place to live. I can't get a job. They go back to jail, and we sit around and go, figures. They're just trash. Once a criminal, always a criminal. So one of the things that some of these organizations, and I'll put those links also down below, like the Georgia Justice Project, some of these organizations try to do is to also pass measures on the front end that are going to really help to bring equality among people of different races. So those are some ways that you can get involved. If you go on the internet, you have thumbs of thunder with which you can find any information that you need to in the world. So look up what sort of organizations there may be in your area that are helping to address systemic racism, or just racial injustice, or just imbalances of the legal system that are making things harder for certain minority groups to get the proper justice they need. There are lots of ways. I am affiliated with the Libertarian Party of Georgia, and I will put Ryan Graham's information also down below, so you can contact him, or if you know how to contact folks in the Democratic or Republican Party, and if you're, one of those party affiliates, I'm sure they have things they also want to do and goals they want to work for. So I just hope that you'll be inspired to take steps, even if it's the very first step of just talking to your kids and your people that you love in your life. The thing I'm hoping to do this fall is we're trying to create some sort of extended network of perhaps creating a website, or also having an ambassador type program where we help other organizations around the state develop something like the GGRA, and a website that would also have information for where you are in your part of the state of Georgia. So if you're in Gwinnett, we would have GGRA information, but like if you're over in Cobb, it would have information on organizations that are over there. These kinds of organizations exist all over the state. So it's just kind of up to you to say, who's out there and how can I help? What can I do to help these organizations and work through them to extend justice, equal justice for all. Thank you so much, folks, and have a blessed day.